Came here in 1986 to run it for myself in October. I signed the papers and I was owner of the Red Barn Incorporated. People come in here for the experience, more so than I think anything else. And they love the fact that somebody's actually taking the time to listen. Find that balance between doing what you love that isn't really work, that might pay the bills, and more importantly, can resonate with people and actually to some extent help people. That's pretty rewarding. Without my customers, I would be doing what I don't love, guaranteed.
Are you thinking of buying, selling, or investing in real estate, but you don't know where to start? Have you searched for a realtor who will be nearby when they are needed, who will answer your calls and emails, who will go the extra mile to ensure your every need is met, who will help you with sourcing and supplying contractors while negotiating the best deal possible? Do you need a realtor who does not believe in high-pressure sales tactics or other gimmicks? Then you need me. My name is Steve Roy, and I offer a full-service professional sales and customized marketing package for my clients. I am helping clients with buying, selling, and investing. I will build a custom plan to fit your needs. I will work closely with you to ensure that you achieve your goals. My services include not only an analysis of your local market and correct pricing, but I will also help you to prepare your home for sale and make it look as desirable as possible to buyers by providing expert advice, using professional quality photographs, and compelling descriptions. Let me help you minimize cost and maximize your profits. Call me today, 207-649-8522.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call the Fairfield Town Council to order. Our first order of business is to swear in our new council. The voters of Fairfield have elected you to serve as town councilor at the town of Fairfield for a term of 3 years. Your office is set to expire on December 31st, 2020. Do you swear you'll support the Constitution of the United States, this state, so long as you continue a citizen thereof, so help you God?
I do.
And do you swear you will faithfully discharge to the best of your abilities duties incumbent on you as town councilor according to the Constitution and laws of this state?
I do.
Congratulations.
And welcome.
My next order of business is to accept nominations for a chair. Do I hear any nominations?
I will nominate Mr. Michael.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Do I have a motion to cease nominations?
Motion to cease.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor of Michael Taylor as chair, please signify by raising your hand. Michael Taylor has been nominated as chair.
I'll abstain from this vote.
My next order of business is to accept nominations for vice chair.
I nominate John Pisciotti.
Second.
Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Do I have a motion to cease nominations?
I will.
Second.
Nominations are now closed. Is there any discussion?
No.
All those in favor of John Pisciotti as vice chair, please signify by raising your hand. John Pisciotti has been nominated as vice chair. My next order of business is to accept nominations for secretary. Do I hear a nomination?
Aaron Rowden.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Do I have a motion to cease nominations?
Yes.
Second.
Nominations are now closed. Is there any discussion?
No.
All those in favor of Aaron Rowden as secretary? Aaron has been nominated as
Excuse me.
I now turn the gavel and the meeting over to the chair. Happy New Year, everybody.
Our first order of business is public announcements. First, the town office and all non-emergency services will be closed on Monday, January 15th, in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. 2, the 2015-2016 18-month property tax foreclosure date is January 12th. Taxes must be paid by 4:30 p.m.
That would be Friday.
That would be this Friday, yes. Our second order of business is public hearings, of which we have none. Our third order of business, public comments, limited to 3 minutes. Members of the public may speak to the council on any item or reserve the right to speak on a specific item that is on the meeting agenda when it is addressed. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak?
Hope you all didn't miss me. Gary Goldsmith, I live on the Greenville. I heard that we had a new face on the council. So I wanted to come out and see. And I'd like to ask Councilwoman Chandler a question, if I may.
You may adjust the chair at this time, Gary.
Okay, but my question is directed to the councilwoman, because I expect her to answer it. Question is this: how would you feel, and what would you do, if you had been assaulted by 3 local police officers with excessive force, putting you in the hospital for 5 days?
I'm gonna have to defer to the chair.
She's not
She's
required.
getting quick.
Not required to answer you at this time, Gary.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
I'll catch her after the meeting.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on a specific, on the agenda, or you wish to
No,
speak at
just-
this time?
Something else.
Okay.
Hello, John Holt. I wanted to ask about the progress made on finding and purchasing the water meter that was going to be made available for rent pursuant to the new sewer use ordinance we passed a while back. I don't know if any progress has been made with that. I wanted to check.
I believe we have.
We have purchased 2 of them.
We've got that.
We have 2. They are currently located at the town office and will be available for folks this spring. And we'll start advertising that coming up in the next round of sewer bills that go out to remind people.
Okay.
So, but we do have them.
So it's something I could get hold of this summer.
Yeah. There's a form for you to fill out. There's a deposit that's required. The deposit will be returned to you. There's a certain amount of time that you're allowed to have it and has to be returned back to us and that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's there and it's available for people.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, moving on to our fourth order of business, reports from staff and committees. Town manager's report.
So first of all, I wanted to welcome Courtney to the council. It's great to have you here with us for your audition. Congratulations to all of you on your elections for your positions for the seats. And then wanted to let you know that since our last meeting, all of our departments have been working on finalizing the 2018-19 budget, which you did receive here this evening. I'm happy to report that it is currently down $78,000 currently, so that's a really good piece. A lot of that has to do with our change that's gonna be coming up on April 1st, where trash will no longer be going to Pine Tree, it'll be going to Waste Management in Orange Walk, we'll no longer be dealing with Perk, which is also a informational campaign that we will hopefully be kicking off very soon so that our residents are aware of that. And then we're also working in conjunction with the budget. There's a lot of changes this year with the town meeting process. So we're working on a timeline for that, and we'll hopefully be submitting that to you soon as to how those pieces will have to fall into place. Because of the public hearings and the mailers, there's some real specific dates that we're gonna have to hit. So that's coming together quite nicely. Public Works Director was able to purchase the new plow truck last Wednesday, just prior to Thursday's storm. So the director and one of our employees drove to Vermont, picked up the truck, drove back. We had it registered before they got back here. They got the plates on, and it was able to run first thing Thursday morning when that storm hit. We have opted not to purchase a new plow at this time. The plow that we currently have will fit with the headgear that we have, so we're going to continue to use that for right now. We have been in conversations with Viking Surveys, which has provided all of the plowing equipment that is on the truck, about a different plow and going forward with that. But as of right now, we're good with what we have. And also, I have received a lot of well-deserved praise for our Public Works crew over the last couple of weeks. They've worked really hard, especially during some pretty rough storms and over the holidays, so they've done a fabulous job. And we are still working on snow removal. Tomorrow's priority is really going to be on storm drains. With this rain that's coming, we are expecting the possibility of street flooding, so it's just something for folks to be aware of because of the ice buildup that we do have, but hopefully they'll get to most of those tomorrow. And as a general update, Escalon Drive property did sell on December 29th, so we've also received our application fee for the credit enhancement agreement. Copies have been mailed to them for their signature, and the bond that the town held on the building was paid off on Friday the 29th as well, so that change in the budget is reflected in this year's piece. The Fairfield Economic Community Development meeting was postponed till January 22nd, so there's no update on that. And then also, I did follow up from your last meeting on the $7,500 application fee for the retail marijuana application. That was not based on any sort of research that the planning board had done. It's not comparable to anything. It was just simply a number that they had put in there in that application, and that's all subject to conversation. So, and that's it.
It's going to be. It'll be a long. They've already made changes, and they're going through stuff.
And I've had a couple of discussions about the possibility of inviting the planning board to your next meeting about having some conversations around this. But because we don't know what the state is doing, and because of recent information from the federal government, I think it might be prudent that we actually wait till the first meeting in February as opposed to the next meeting, just to see if any more of this stuff flushes out. Because if we have them come and have a conversation, it all changes afterwards. It doesn't. It's just going to be a waste of everybody's time.
Often, so
Yeah.
Sure.
Hopefully that will come soon.
Again tomorrow.
Yep. And that's it for me.
Good. No other committees. And our fifth order of business, to waive the reading of and accept the minutes as printed or amended for meeting number 24-17 held on December 27th, 2017.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, abstain? One abstain. Our sixth order of business, treasurer's warrant. To approve the treasurer's warrant, number 40, in the amount of $641,249.84.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries. All right, our seventh order of business, take action on the following items of business. Item 18-01, annual organizational meeting business. Number 1, set the date and times of the town council meetings to be held in 2018.
There's a map. There's a page. Calendar.
You also had asked about looking at the calendar ahead instead of deciding month to month when we have calendar conflicts that can come up with either elections or holidays. So this year, the fall is looking really great. It's the June election and the June meeting, the first June meeting are back to back.
Okay, so the 12th is the election, and the 13th is council meeting.
Correct.
You want to move that till the 5th and the 6th? Or, I'm sorry, till the 6th.
Or we could skip the meeting depending on what is scheduled and what's going on. We have done that in the past.
That would be my
Unless-
recommendation.
The only thing that would be required with that would be, we'd need at least 3 signatures on the warrant that would be doing that week, that's all.
Okay.
It's, Or
We'll
you
keep
could
it at
do
the 13th if there's an emergency. If not, we can always postpone that until cover everything on the 27th.
So the 12th is the primary? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the 12th is the primary, and so even if I don't attend your meeting, I still prepare your packets. So the week prior to the week of election, I'm really not available to do that.
Okay.
And it puts a lot on the manager and during a very busy time when we have that much traffic in the office. So we were looking at ways to gain efficiencies.
We'll leave the 13th available for an emergency.
that works.
Other than that,
I was gonna say, we could do the 6th available for an emergency. The only reason
But
is
if it's an
because the
emergency,
13th
it's-
would-
If it's an emergency, we'll find a way to get it done.
Otherwise than that, it's gonna remain on the 13th?
no,
It's
we will
not-
we'll postpone, we'll conduct all business on the 27th.
So there's none on the 13th?
Right.
Correct,
As of
unless
right
there-
now.
something comes up that is,
Okay, that's fine.
I'll formally make a motion then that we convene the town council at 6:30 PM on the second and fourth Wednesday of each month in 2018, except there will be no meeting on June 13th, except by the call of the chair.
I would also like to throw in the 26th, the day after Christmas. We're gonna have people around the day after Christmas?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, that would be a tough one.
We did it
It's a
this year.
vacation week.
Yeah, we did this year.
We did this year.
Yeah,
Did we?
Yeah,
Was it
because we
Monday?
had Monday and Tuesday as a holiday.
Monday was Christmas, Wednesday, which,
Tuesday was observed, we had to bump out a day because of New Year,
Right.
because of Christmas Eve.
right,
And we met Monday,
Yeah.
Wednesday, right after Christmas.
Yeah, we did.
And what I
Yeah.
did is the week before, I just made sure.
We
Michelle-
just
I
did
told-
it all
I just
ahead of
reminded
time.
Michelle, we don't have any days next week to finish
And
this.
typically, that's a much lighter agenda for you, in past
Yeah.
practice anyway, excuse me. Simply because of the fact that we could be looking at change in council, and you have your organizational piece and all of that in January.
Yeah.
That agenda is always very, very light. I think that one would,
as long as we have 3 show up.
I think we
can-
will be
I mean,
fine.
If something comes up, we can always make changes at that.
Yeah, at that time, okay.
And I was excited this year to see that your meeting does not fall the day before Thanksgiving, so that was really good.
Yeah.
So,
It was an odd year.
it is an odd year, because it doesn't normally happen that way, but
And
it,
it's the week after the election, it's win-win on so many levels.
Yeah.
Michelle,
Yeah,
the
it's a good
Novembers
piece.
felt like that.
I withdraw my comment. Mr. Round's motion as stated.
So it's gonna remain at 6:30 too, as well.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Yes, you do. I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries. Number 2, set the time and location of the annual town meeting to be held per charter on the second Monday of May. Is the 12th?
The 12th, yes.
May 12th.
It's
May
annual.
14th.
May 14th.
Oh, it's the
May
14th?
14th.
May 14th? What did I do, hit the wrong? I must have been a month off.
You're a
Sorry.
month off. Okay, all right.
Second Monday of May.
Second Monday of May, which is the 14th,
Yeah,
okay?
that I did
And
the second
traditionally
Monday.
met at 7.
Location would be here at the community center, and the time is typically 7
7 PM.
PM?
At the community center, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll move to set the date of the annual town meeting to be May 14th at 7 PM at the community center.
I thought you said 12.
That's the 14th.
It's the 14th.
My mistake, I looked it up in my calendar, but I was a month early.
So it's gonna be the 14th then?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, I gotta fix that there.
So we have a motion, do we have a second? We have a second?
You got a second?
I couldn't hear who did the second, I didn't see the
John.
names. Courtney?
Courtney.
Let Courtney do it.
Courtney.
All right, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries.
At 7 PM, did you say?
Yes.
Yes,
Was that 5-0? I couldn't see clearly.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
yes.
All right, so it's on the 14th. Okay.
Number 3, adopt the Town of Fairfield Town Council Administrative Policies for 2018.
All right.
I read through those.
Did you memorize that?
I did not memorize that, I know.
I move we adopt the Town of Fairfield Town Council Administrative Policies as updated on July 1st, 2017 as our 2018 policies with the addendum A, fee schedule.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries. Number 4, appointments made by the town council, list A4. A4.
I will make a motion that we accept the appointments as A4.
On A4, okay.
The Public Access Officer of Michelle Llewellyn, Town Attorney of William Lee, and Town Manager of Michelle Llewellyn.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries. Number 5, confirm the appointments made by the town manager on list B5.
I'll make a motion that we accept the appointments by the town manager for 2018.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Just for the clarity of people who may be watching, since we're not reading out the list, these are
Right.
town employees who
employees.
Yeah.
you already know. I don't see anybody
There's
new.
nothing new.
So this is just keeping the people who are already doing their jobs.
Yeah. That's exactly what my comment was gonna be too.
Works for me.
Well, the only new is that we added a deputy, reserve animal control officer. That is the only new name that you're seeing.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
It's just, it's a formality.
So
And that's an individual that's also an animal control officer in a neighboring town, so that we're working on
Yeah.
Okay.
creating good
All
backups.
right, so these covered the town office, the police department, fire department, public works, and the library.
Yep.
Correct.
Code enforcement,
Code
code commissioner,
Town office.
everybody.
Yeah, everybody, yes. Okay, we have, all right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Okay. Appoint town councilors as members of the General Assistance Fair Hearing Authority. Christine, you have a,
So in the minutes will reflect, and this is traditional language, but we have new folks on board. In the event of an appealed general assistance decision, each appointee shall be contacted in order to determine availability to hold a hearing. The person available shall act as the fair hearing authority officer for that particular appeal. So we don't need the entire council, only one of you needs to be available in the event that there's an appeal to a decision of the welfare director, which is myself, and we would reach out to you folks. It doesn't require the entire council. In this way, if you're in court, Beverly's, in Augusta, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, as long as I get one, we can hold the hearing.
Okay.
I move the appointment of each member of the Fairfield Town Council as members of the General Assistant Fair Hearing Authority.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I would just point out for our newer counselors, because I don't think this has come up in the last year, but this is actually one of those things that even though it doesn't come up a lot, people actually do get called on to do it.
Yes.
So this one
It
has
happens
actually
occasionally.
been used.
And I would provide the statutes and the guidelines and the state's protocol to handle that. I would set you all up for success, whoever was in that position.
Yep.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries. Let's see, appoint 3 representatives to the KRDA First Park General Assembly. We have last year, Michelle.
So it was John Pesciati, Tom Munson, and myself.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
All three of them said they were willing to serve.
You still on?
No, I guess.
You get, all right. You twist your arm.
I've been with First Park
Since its
before it
inception,
started.
yes.
So,
Yeah, and Fairfield's very well represented too, because Tom Munson is on the executive board and has been for some time. And I was recently asked to take over as the planning board chairman for that group, which would give me a seat at the executive board level as well. So we're very well represented when it comes to all of that.
that's good.
The notes that we have indicate, Michelle, that you're an alternate. And that-
For the General Assembly.
For General Assembly.
Okay.
Yeah, and they've changed their positions there quite a bit too, First Park, KRGA. They now have opened up a lot, all of their committees, subcommittees, to members of the public as well, so that it allows them to have business partners involved with the park, as well as just the members from the municipalities. It's assisted them a great deal in getting folks to be able to participate, whereas you have a smaller pool when you're just dealing with the town reps themselves from the GA.
And hopefully
so,
there are some major changes that are
yeah,
coming through too.
That'll be good.
That will increase the
good stuff.
probability.
So I would nominate John Pesciati, Thomas Munson, and Michelle Flewelling to be our representatives to KRDA First Park General Assembly.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstained? 1 abstain.
Thank you.
Okay. Appoint 2 municipal officials as representatives to KV-COG.
It was myself and Jeff.
And Jeffrey.
One of the council is required. We need to have one elected official as a rep. I typically cover all of the meetings. I take care of all of those pieces. It would just be someone that would need to be called on should there be an important issue and I wasn't available, because you can't, one is a member, one's an alternate member, so you can't both vote at a meeting anyway, so.
I will nominate Courtney Chandler.
I second that, and I was going to, but you did it first, so.
Okay, well, we have.
And I will also nominate Michelle.
Oh, you will,
I
okay.
second that too. How about that?
Okay,
Covers all bases.
it does.
It would be
All right.
nice if you went to a meeting, though. It would be good. If we can get you to go.
I might be otherwise engaged, you never know.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the table for Michelle Fawley and Courtney Chandler. Is there any further discussion? No. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstained? One abstain. Motion carries. Appoint the town manager and 2 town councilors to serve on the Labor Negotiation Committee.
I will nominate Michael Taylor, Aaron Rowden, and Michelle Flewelling on labor negotiations.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second for the Labor Negotiation Committee. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, abstained?
Thank you.
You could vote opposed, but you'd still have to do it. You have to. It's the law.
No, 3-2. Well, apparently we lost. Okay. 10, appoint a member of the town council as representative to the MSAD 49 Crawford Committee.
I will nominate Michael Taylor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstained? 401.
Okay.
Actually, that's not one of the worst ones to be on.
I know how much their interest is. 72,600.
We did well.
We did very well. That's not, we're moving the there's a 10% that has to come out,
Right.
but they did very well this year. Very, very well this year.
Excellent.
Yeah. It's a letter that I'm excited to write.
Nice.
Who's the motion in the second on that one? I was filling in Courtney's.
John and then Aaron.
Thank you.
All right, number 11, appoint the town manager as representative to the Municipal Review Committee.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries. Number 12, appoint the town manager as a representative to the Sustain Mid-Maine Coalition.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries. Number 13, consider vacancies and make appointments to the various boards and committees. List C-13.
Should we just start making motions?
Jeez.
It is, I've got everything listed line for line for line.
Okay.
And it goes in order of the memo. So your first one's gonna be Board of Appeals voter registration.
Okay.
Can we do this in mass?
Now you got double people.
I'll
You-
move the appointment of Linda Kinley to the Board of Appeals voter registration for a 3-year term.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries.
Move the appointment of Kenneth Cook and Kimberly Hawks, each to a 3-year term on the Board of Assessment Review.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carries.
I'll move the appointment of John Ballou, Richard Fortier, and Larry Hillman, each to a 3-year term on the Budget Committee, with Richard Fortier to serve as chair.
So moved.
Point of
I
order.
would assume that they elect their own chair, right?
Yes.
I noted that he's the current chair.
Oh, okay.
They will make that
All right,
determination at their
then.
meeting.
Strike the last part of my motion.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries.
Nominate Shelley Rudnicki to a 3-year term on the CATV Board of Directors.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries.
I would nominate Dwayne Bickford, Tim Martin, Bruce Harrington, and John Pishotti to the Economic and Community Development Committee, with Dwayne Bickford and Tim Martin serving 2-year terms, and Bruce Harrington and John Pishotti serving 3-year terms.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, abstained? 401.
I would appoint, or move the appointment of Paul Levesque to the Land Use Board of Appeals for a 5-year term.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries.
I would move the appointment of Alan Roy to the Land Use Board of Appeals as an alternate for a 3-year term.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries.
And I would move the appointment of Kevin Violet to the Planning Board for a 5-year term.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries. And that is done. On the back side. Okay.
May I ask a question?
You may.
On one of those, there were 2 different term lengths. Is somebody filling a vacant position, or?
They have alternating,
Their terms are staggered,
Oh,
Yeah.
so that all members don't leave at the same exact time.
Thank you.
yes. Right, item 18-02, order that the town council hereby schedules a special meeting of the Fairfield Town Council to be held in council chambers for the purpose of reviewing and discussing the draft fiscal year 2019 budget on Saturday, January 20th, 2018 at 7:30 a.m.
So moved.
Second.
I have got one question.
What?
One thing, typically we don't do that in council chambers, we typically do that at the meeting room at the town office.
We're gonna
We don't
change
actually
that?
do that here.
I-
Our group is small enough to do it there, it's the budget committee that we usually meet here with. It doesn't, I mean, we can do it in either or location, it's just that your motion is specific to the location, so I just
Already
wanted to mention that.
I already put it in council chambers.
You can do a friendly amendment if that's the council's preference.
So I actually looked at that, and I was thinking, these are public meetings. And
We could do it.
the town office conference room would not be conducive if we
That
had
is
strong
absolutely
public
true.
interest.
It's small.
That is true.
Should people from the public wish to
It'd be just as
attend?
perfect to have it here.
Yeah, so can we
Yeah.
leave it that way? In the council
Yeah,
chambers?
you're fine, I just
Yeah.
wanted to mention that,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter to me one way or the
Right.
other.
Well, I'm just saying, I just put it in there, I don't wanna have to edit it.
We've never, I don't think we've ever had it here.
Maybe someone will show up.
That's right.
Yeah, somebody
someone
could,
will
and then it's
come.
cramped in there.
Yeah, we've had people show up before, and
Yeah.
it's been a problem, but that's.
That's good,
Okay.
it's all right.
If a member of the public wants to sit, they can. It's not.
That they have in the other room. We've had.
All right.
If that
So-
day will work for folks.
It's in
So
there.
that's not this coming Saturday, it's the Saturday after,
Right.
Well, it's in there, so. I'm all set.
pending Mother Nature disasters.
If I don't put it in there, I won't be here. Well,
And it gives the opportunity to review it, and then if it needs to be taken up again at the next January meeting, which is that
Okay.
7:30.
Ain't
That's
technology.
morning?
Morning.
Yeah, morning, 7:30 a.m.
AM.
A.m.
Oh, dark 30.
But typically, we're done by noon,
Yeah, typically.
Yeah.
around noon time, 1 o'clock. And this will give us the opportunity too to get all of our department heads scheduled for you and that sort of piece, so.
Some coffee and donuts.
Yes, we will feed you. I will feed you.
Okay.
I want you all sugared up.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Carries.
You got another one on the 3rd of February?
Well, that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah?
Order that the town council hereby schedules a special meeting of the Fairfield Town Council to be held in council chambers, to be jointly held with the budget committee for the purposes of reviewing and discussing the draft fiscal year 2019 budget on Saturday, February 3rd, 2018 at 7:30 a.m.
3rd. So, council chambers for that one.
And so what will happen with that is that at your next meeting is typically when the budget committee comes in, they get sworn, they have their initial meeting and to set up. And this is going to be the schedule that we are going to propose to them so that they will also have the budget for a few weeks before we discuss it. So again, as we had alluded to, there are several public hearings that we need to hold this year prior to town meeting. So the earlier we get this done, the better off we're going to be so that we are prepared to hold those.
And that one's an early morning one too, huh?
Mhm. Nobody sleeps during budget season.
Well, it's the one public hearing, but we have to do the mailer, we have to have the notice posted, there's like multiple components of that.
There's all
Yeah.
kinds of
Yeah.
timing that has to happen.
But yeah, it's a timing piece, not to mention publishing the town report.
All right, let's see. Before, save February 3rd, 7:30 a.m. Okay. Or else,
Don't have a motion yet.
I know.
Okay, thank you.
Let's make a motion.
second.
A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor? Motion carries. All right, our 8th order of business, council workshop and other business. All right. Number 1, discuss tax lien foreclosure information. It's nice to see a short list.
This year.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, we usually do for once it hits. So, an important piece to recognize is the fact that when tax liens go on, there's roughly anywhere between 300 and 350 tax liens. So over the course of the 18 months, folks pay. This list was much, much longer when the foreclosure notices went out. So we're down to 30 individuals at this point. We do have heard already from some mortgage holders that we know will pay by Friday. It's a common practice actually for mortgage companies to they'll send checks ahead of time, and that if the resident doesn't pay, then we deposit their check. Those kind of things do happen. So we do have a few that we've heard from. There's a lot, I spoke to the treasurer this afternoon. She said a lot of these names that are on this list are folks that they believe that they will hear from by the end of the week. It's just typical that it's the last day that they come in, so that's where we're at.
Not very long this time though.
Nope.
Good. Very good.
Any other discussion on this?
I would just add that, apart from the property tax abatement that will be going before you this evening, we've not received any other applications, so this list of 30, the anticipation is that, it'll either go into foreclosure and they'll go into the 30 days where they have to pay all of their taxes, or, they plan on paying by Friday 4/30. So it's been a real clear year as far as that one.
discuss the annual town report dedication.
Well, we just lost a really good citizen who lived across the street from me few weeks ago, who was, did really a lot with the school and boosters clubs and sports and stuff. His son was a good athlete for Lawrence High School, and it was Doug Matthew.
Yeah.
I think that would be nice to do that.
I didn't hear the name.
Doug Matthews.
I second it.
It's I-E-U.
It's been a motion.
There'll be an action item on your next meeting, you're just discussing it in the workshop.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that'd be, one suggestion.
Yeah. Is there anyone else that had
No, I don't
something
know.
of,
So on the list, there's a memo that was provided to you, one that we've discussed before in the past. Arthur Julia, who also
Arthur
recently
Julia
passed away,
also, yeah. Yes.
was another
Oh,
name that was
sorry,
on
forgot
here.
about that
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
so those are two that we can have on the list.
We could put, it could be dedicated to both of them too.
There
Yeah.
has
We've
not,
done that before.
we have,
Why not?
Yeah, Arthur's done an awful lot for the town and everything too.
okay, so we got a couple of names on there. Let's see, discuss the annual Spirit of America Award.
Same thing, action for next meeting.
So there were two names that we had come up with, which one being Kimberly Lindloff, with all of her work with the chamber and various different pieces towards economic development in the area. And then also Tom Munson. He is the town's rep for KRDA, as well as he's on the town's, been on the town's Economic Community Development Committee. He's been a prior counselor, and is still very active in promoting our community as well, so, which is in line with the spirit of that award, so.
Piece, if there's somebody that if you like all of the options, we'll have names to carry forward for consideration for next year as well. You don't have to do a dual appointment.
Right. And then, of course, too, where it is your first time discussing this, if any of you think of anybody after we leave here tonight, we can certainly make sure we continue to compile a list before your next meeting, so that we can just simply put all the options before you when you are going to make a decision, so.
Anything else on that, or good at the moment?
Good.
Okay.
Good to go.
Fee schedule, in addition to the town council administrative policies.
You adopted this when you adopted your policies, but this is a work in progress for us, but it's a really good work in progress. We're getting close to being finished. Whereas we are trying to go through absolutely everything we have, every ordinance, every policy, everything that we do, and compile a list of these fees so that they're available on our website for our residents to know, and have the ability to hopefully get their questions answered while they're doing their research, and give people, for instance, an idea of what various different things will cost them as they're going through stuff. We have a substantial amount. And what our goal is to hopefully, over the course of the next year, or at any time that we take up an ordinance that has a fee within it, unless state law dictates it, we'd like to get those fees, change it so that the fees are not specifically within the ordinance itself. So therefore, if at any point in time a fee needs to change, you don't have to go through all of the preparation for a public hearing and everything else just to simply change because a fee changed. So that's what we're in the process of trying to compile this document for, and know that we'll work towards that as being our goal. What we don't wanna do is bombard you with 100 ordinance changes just to simply move everything. We're just working towards doing that in the future, and we think that this will be a good way. What also was done with this is this was given out to all the department heads at the beginning of the month for them to sit down and review the sections that apply to each of their own individual jobs to make sure they're still applicable, they're still effective, they're still in line with what state statutes are. Because a lot of these fees that are in here, a good number of them are actually set by state statute. We don't have anything to do with them. It's just sort of, it's a good check, and it's something that we plan to do annually in-house, so to make sure that we're staying on top of those things. So that's where we're at.
And the other piece is, so I've been actually developing this for several months, and in the actual full spreadsheet, which isn't reflected here, the notes show what department head, where it's filed, as well as what departments have to approve it, or council, in some cases, as well as the statutes or the ordinances that are referenced, so it's a massive spreadsheet. But this is just the fee schedule for the addendum for the council piece. I would just like to note and bring to your attention at the header of the addendum, I did put in parentheses that state set fees and allocations will not be altered because many of these are state set. Not all, of course, but this way, as Michelle mentioned, we have a one-stop shopping to look at what our fees are for services, licenses, and permits.
So in the future, this will be just an amendment to the fee schedule rather than
Ordinance amendments.
changes per
Yep.
line item. Excellent.
Yep.
Excellent.
It'll streamline things, so it's been a lot of work, but I think it'll pay off in the long run. It'll be really good.
Let's see, discuss town council goals and standards for 2018.
So we put it as an action item because you have new council, so we put it on as an action item to adopt at your next meeting. This gives you folks the opportunity to propose any amendments that you wish to see.
GIS mapping, that's already been done, right? Didn't we have that? All right, so that one.
Half of your industrial road connector is done. You have the land.
Woo-hoo. That's a good start.
Great. The rest of this is all still very active. In fact, we were discussing the fire department training facility just yesterday.
Really?
Yes, it's still a very active project.
Still on the agenda.
Yeah, it's still there. There's a lot of stuff going, there's some new legislation that's being put forward that the state's looking at doing for some of these facilities with actually putting money behind it this time, so, yeah.
Of course, the problem will be getting it through appropriations.
Yeah, I know, so, but it's still, we're still working on it.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Most of these are general overviews anyways, which
Really
are
are.
always in a state of flux.
I could see some of these boards and committees need to be updated under standard number 2. So you no longer need an ad hoc committee on solid waste management, as well as the charter commission.
No,
Yep.
those two can be.
Those two can go.
Scratched off.
I think on standard number 3, subsection 3, with respect to the tax increment financing, I think we should add some language to reflect that our goal is to use that in an effective way, not just promote the proliferation of tips.
I can look at some wording of that.
Yeah, well.
No, you don't just want 100 of tax exempt properties in town? No.
As I think we are probably getting to the saturation point on that particular tool, I think it'd be important so that if other people someday are sitting in these chairs, and hopefully someday they will be, and looking at goals and whatnot, they will see that we adjusted how we approached that.
Yeah. Yeah, extra money for industrial.
Yeah.
I would think that another good piece for your discussion at your next meeting might be to, so you reviewed these goals, and we reviewed them again last year. Is maybe take a little bit of time and try to go over some of these things, what we've actually done to fulfill some of these, I think might be another piece that we could do this, as opposed to just being a rubber stamp on the same document year after year. What is it that we've actually done in the past year that's been towards these specific items that you have on here? I mean, your goals are written very generally, to be tax stewardship for citizens that result in cost effective and efficiency. I mean, that's just good business. But there are some specific things, that we've done over the course of the year that's helped with those goals. It might be nice to kind of add that a little bit for you in there as you've accomplished them. So it's sometimes good to know.
Actual accomplishment?
Like what we actually said we would do, we did, and it's good to recognize that. So
would
I
be
think
bonus,
those would be
yeah.
some good things. Okay.
Anything else on that? No? Okay. Number 6, discuss snow removal agreement for MSAD number 49.
So this part of the agenda was set before the snowstorm, and I'm assuming they did not have their meeting, because I have not heard back from anybody at the school. I don't know if anybody else has. But for any of the counselors that weren't there, I know Aaron was not able to attend, but this meeting, I think, was a good success. It went very well, and the school board will be discussing a potential of a 2-year agreement with us at $15,000 a year, which will cover our costs, which we were able to put some actual numbers to with the storms that we did cover in December, and came up with a really good estimate, I think, and a good recommendation. So we'll see how it goes when they finally meet to discuss it.
We had a general agreement between everybody that was at
Yep.
the meetings.
Yep, it was good.
Nicole?
Now, with whatever they come up with at their meeting, I do hope that we're still interested in having that emergency piece to call a meeting between us to say, look, we've already had however many freak storms. We've gone well over 15 grand. Money doesn't come from
Right.
trees.
Oh, you're talking about the clause that we
That
talked
clause,
about.
so yeah.
I like the clause.
So, and what will happen is, so ultimately what will happen is that whatever the school board decides, there will be an actual agreement that will still have to come back to council. Cause you'll still have to actually vote to accept that agreement. That workshop was not, anything set in stone, so that'll be good.
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 Good point.
Anything else on that at this time? No? Number 7, discuss other council business.
Nothing tonight.
Nothing at all tonight.
Just wanted to say I'm looking forward to another successful and productive year for the town of Fairfield, and I'm glad to be able to be here and work with you all.
The same.
Likewise. I also would like to bring out, I've gotten an email today, and I think it would be good, I don't know what citizens are watching TV right now or anything, but I've gotten an email that Chinbro is looking for a Chinbro's internship. And it's a paid internship, and they are available to full-time undergraduate students who have completed at least their freshman year of college. And preferably they want people who are either pursuing an engineering degree, construction management, safety, business, finance, that type of thing. And they can call, we're gonna give 2 things. They can call online at Maine Diversity, mainediversity.com, or call 1-800-948-3775. And they are looking for people that are gonna be, good for the young,
And the students up at KV, maybe?
yeah, students at KV or even, Thomas College or
Yep.
whatever. But they may have already heard about it, but I just wanted to mention it.
Yep. Get the word out.
Yep.
Excellent. All right. And forward to another year as chair, and it's good to see a new face here at the council. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's good to still be alive after being sick for 2 weeks.
That's always a plus. You
Yes.
showed up. We didn't have to wheel you in. That's good. So, all right, with that, the next regular meeting of the Fairfield Town Council will be held on Wednesday, January 24th, 2018. And at this time, I'd like to have a motion for recess.
So moved.
Second.
I have